Morning, friends. Scott Brookins here. Hope you're having a great day and had a great weekend. And wanted to just share this morning some things that have been on my heart about unsung heroes. You know, people that touch our lives that we don't know, or we don't know their names or don't remember their names, but they have a huge impact in our lives and the lives of others, and they don't do it for their own glory. They do it probably for the glory of God, at least the ones that have affected our lives, but just because it's maybe the right thing to do. And so I just wanted to, I've been praying a lot about our ministry the last 23 years of being able to travel all over the world, sharing the gospel of Jesus Christ and encouraging people and helping people and changing people's lives. And people would come up to us, and they still do, and we speak and say, I could never do what you do, and God called me to this. And so God calls each of us to use the gifts and talents he's given us for where we're at. And so our calling as a family was to travel around the world, and we did that and still do with our work in Uganda. But we've had so many people, and still do with our supporters and churches that support us, that we can't do what we do without them. And so there's a couple stories that I've been thinking about that happened to us. I just want to share to kind of uplift a couple, not people specifically, but just ways that people impacted our lives. And I was reading in Matthew today, and this is what brought this to mind. In Matthew in chapter 6, in these chapters of Matthew, Jesus has been teaching on, a mountainside. It's called the Sermon on the Mount, or the Beatitudes. And in chapter 6, he talks about giving to the needy. And he talks about, verse 1, it says, "Be careful not to do your acts of righteousness before men to be seen by them. If you do, you will have no reward from your Father in heaven. So when you give to the needy, do not announce it with trumpets, as the hypocrites do in the synagogues and on the streets, to be honored by men. I tell you the truth, they have received their reward in full." In verse 3, "But when you give to the needy, do not let your left hand know what your right hand is doing, so that your giving may be in secret. Then your Father who sees what is done in secret will reward you." And so Jesus is just teaching here that when we give and when we help someone, we don't do it for our glory, right? We don't announce it from the rooftops or the mountaintops. We just do it because it's the right thing to do, or God told us to do that. And so the story that came to mind, several years ago, we were traveling in the U.S., my wife and I and our two kids, and our minivan had been having little struggles with that. It would just stop on the middle of the highway, and then we could restart it, and we took it to different mechanics in a couple different towns, and no one could find out what was going on. So it made our travels pretty kind of nerve-wracking, because we didn't know if we were going to make it or not. So this one Saturday, we were to drive into southwest Kansas, and about an 8-hour drive to get to a church to preach on Sunday morning. And we had stopped after several hours and just got gas and a cup of coffee and snack for the kids, and one little town to then turn to go to our destination. And as soon as we turned down this road in the middle of the farm area, our van stopped, and it just died. It just like click off. And so I was able to pull it over to the side on a 2-lane highway there in the middle of the fields, and we sat there. We obviously prayed, and we weren't too far back from the town we just left, and there was a gas station there, mechanic. So I got it started again and turned it around, and we pulled into this gas station mechanic. But it was Saturday, the mechanic wasn't there, or couldn't see us, I can't remember. And so we're sitting there. I called the pastor in the town we were supposed to be in to tell him what was going on, and a gentleman came up, and he had just heard my conversation on the payphone. Okay, this is how long ago this was. And he said, where do you need to go? And I told him the town, and I told him why. He asked, why, and I told him, and he said, well, if you need help, just here's my phone number, give me a call. And so we sat there. We couldn't get anyone to look at it. And so the pastor came and picked us up later that afternoon. And so we left our van there. And I called this gentleman, and we decided to tow it into the town we were going to because they had a mechanic there that went to the church. And so, long story short, this gentleman, on his own expense and his own time, took our van on his own trailer and towed it, 100 miles away for us, and just left it there. I never heard from him again, and it was just an amazing gift that he gave to us, just because he thought it was the right thing to do. And so I just want to encourage us, and I'm going to continue this story the next time. And there's many others of people that we've met around the world that have blessed us and helped us along the way to do what God has called us to do. But I just want to encourage you that, as you go out today and as you serve and you give to people, don't do it for our own recognition. Don't do it for your glory, for my glory. We do it for the glory of God and just to serve others as we're supposed to do. So I hope this will encourage you to keep doing what you're doing, because I know most of you that I know have such a servant heart, and I just want to encourage you and thank you for blessing us. So like and share this if you would, and go have an amazing day and inspire others to do the same. God bless.